think this hymn is talking about?
Being near to God.
Yes. What specifically, is there anything specific about it that you think is meaningful or powerful?
Well, I think it has like if you're having a hard time, like
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so each hymn has scriptures at the bottom that kind of explain a little bit more about what it's talking about. And this hymn has two scriptures. So the first scripture is in B&C section 88, verse 63. It says, "Draw near unto me, and I will draw near unto you. Seek me diligently, and ye shall find me. Ask it, and ye shall receive. Knock, and it shall be opened unto you." And then we only sing the first verse, but when you go on to further verses, and it still goes with the first verse, it talks about, like, it's all kind of based on the story, and it's the story of Jacob, and he is traveling, he is in Beersheba, and he's heading toward Haran, and he gets to this place and he's really tired, so he lays down and makes a bed of stones, and I think it's in the third verse, or second verse, it talks about, my rest is stone. Anyways, and it goes on, and he lays down, and he has this dream, and he sees this ladder going up to heaven, and there's angels going up and down it, and he sees the Lord at the top, and the Lord proclaims that he is the Lord, and then he says this. And he said, "And behold, I am with thee, and will keep thee in all places whither thou goest, and will bring thee again into this land, for I will not leave thee until I have done that which I have spoken to thee of." So to me, I think, and you guys touched on this too, is I think this song is talking about no matter what, we want to be near to God, and God will be near to us. He won't leave us alone. He won't leave us comfortless. And we hear that over and over in the scriptures. And I think sometimes, especially in college, we forget that. You know, we're always like, I have so much to do, I got to keep going. But the Lord will always help us through everything that we need to do. And it's so important that we recognize that. And so I think this song is a testimony, and we're trying to tell people that no matter what happens, we can be near to God. Even in doing our science homework, He can still bless us with that, you know, and help us get through that. So that's kind of the message I want to bring out in this song. Is there anything else you guys think is important, maybe, that we could bring out in here? No? Okay. So let's kind of go through the song, and we're just singing the first verse, so let's focus on that verse, but let's kind of pick out some important words that we want to stress. And the way we stress words is we either give them more volume, so they're louder or softer, or we lean into them a little bit. Do you guys understand what that means? Lean into it a little bit. Instead of just going "Hear my God," you go "Hear my." You kind of lean crescendo and say, yeah, there we go. Okay, so let's kind of think of some words in here that are important, that maybe if someone was to pick up on these few words, they would get the message of this song, that they can be close to God. What do you guys think are some important words in here?
I feel like the first verse, they all have something like this, but you know what be expressed, but they're all mentioned.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
Yeah. Okay, so then let's focus on that different stuff first. So what in that different part right there, even though it be a cross that raises me, still all my songs shall be. What words are important in there that we should probably kind of give a little more emphasis to? Raises, exactly, yeah, I got that one. So if you guys want to underline the words or circle the words that we think should be a little more stressed in this hymn, why don't you do that? Okay, and then, so what other words do you think are important?
I don't know what cross is in the patient one, but it's a striking one.
Yeah,
that was saying that we have a cross, and like literally the Savior had the cross.
Yeah.
It's instances of, we have.
I think it kind of brings into that figurative play, He really bore the cross, for real, but we still have those burdens and the things that we carry, but He can relate because He really did bear a cross, and so our little crosses, He can relate to completely and totally. So I think that's important. Any others in that one? I kind of think the word "still" is is important too, because that second line we're talking about, even though I have these trials and these burdens that are frustrating me, or these tests that I'm scared about or something, still I can do all things, and I can still be close to you, and I can still have your guidance in my life. So I think that one is important. And I think song, because this is a song that we're singing, it's our praise to Him.
Cool, this is song.
Exactly. Yeah, definitely. Okay, so we kind of got a little bit of that section. And now let's go, we have this repeated line, nearer my God to thee, nearer to thee, nearer my God to thee, nearer my God. It says a lot. Why does it say it a lot? What are the important words in those? Do you guys think? Yeah,
that's exactly what I got.
So I think every time it says nearer, that's the key. Like, we need to be near and close unto God so we can have His inspiration and His strength and power. Does that make sense? Yeah, so I think every time it says near, I think we should put a little bit of emphasis on that. And then definitely God, because God is the one that we rely on. He is the person to whom this is like a plea to Him, I want to be closer to you. Let me show your power and your strength in my life. So if we underline those words, I think that will kind of give us a good thing. So what we're going to try to do with these words that we've underlined when we sing this is we're going to try to kind of put emphasis on them. So how do you think, some of them we do with like more volume, and then some of them we do with like leaning into or something like that, or some of them maybe we make quieter. So how do you think, the words that we have underlined, how do you think we should kind of go about making those important?
I was just thinking all the mirrors, time we say mirror, 3 times we say God. And I think we read the scripture, and so I feel like I can picture like this, like, second or something, so like, maybe every time we say mirror, it's like, it's taking a step forward.
Oh, that is good, yeah.
There's like a different level of every mirror, but like at the end, the last mirror, it's like, really, okay, and so it's no longer like a, but it's like a piece, like,
that is very good. So maybe the last one we should do a little quieter. Do you guys want to write that in there? Yeah, so that last little line is just peaceful. We've reached to where we need to be. Okay. What about the other mirrors? Should we maybe putting a little more emphasis every time as we get closer to Him, and then we reach that peace because we've come to Him. So each one gets just a little bit more pull or emphasis or a little tug to it. Does that make sense? Do you guys? Okay. I don't know how you want to mark that. Maybe like 1, 2, 3, 4, like gradually, or something that means something to you because you need to understand it when you read it. So.
I like that, because like the loud mirrors are going to be after things like
yeah. And it's also nice that the louder mirrors are also on higher notes, so they're a little easier to be louder on. So that helps with the voice as well. Okay, what about God? We say that twice, or 3 times. Let's see. Yeah, 3. What do you think we should do with the word God? Exactly, that's what I was thinking too. Yeah. I think saying the words might be we want to make it reverent. So emphasis, like pushing a little into it, like we talked about earlier, but reverently. So I guess a little quieter than the mirror. Does that make sense? And then the last part we have is that middle section that we talked about in the beginning. Even though it be a cross that raises me, still all my songs shall be near to Him. I'm thinking, at least at the still part, I want to do something where it's a little more, it's growing, because it's like this resolution. Like I'm kind of burdened down and I'm stressed, but still I can be near to you. So I think that part should be a little more resolute. Does that make sense? Okay. I think that'll be good. And then what do you guys think about even though it be a cross? What do you perceive that as? perfectly fine. I think a little bit of pleading and a little bit of reverence kind of mixed together. You know, you're kind of struggling. At least that's how I interpret this. Is that you're struggling and it's hard, but then you can rely on the Savior in the end. You know, and so maybe this part is a little more subdued, but still like pointed and focused. You know, because this is real and this is a tangible hardship that you're going through, but it's frustrating. So it's just like, I don't know. It's not calm, but it's still like lay low a little bit. Does that make sense?
Well, I think the word cross, it starts with that like a
yes,
down. It's really not dark, I don't want to say dark, but the word is kind of a dark scientific thing, like this burden or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So that hard cross can be really emphatic.
Yeah. So maybe when we say that word cross, make sure we get the k out there. Not like crazy strong, because that would be really annoying. But just that little bit of emphasis, because it kind of creates that hard sound that relates to our, you know, the hardness of what we're going through, whatever it may be, you know, different levels, but still there, yeah. So emphasize the k in the cross sound. That's good. And then the other words we talked about emphasizing were raises. I think that was the only one. And then I kind of had underlined, when I went through this earlier, even though, you know, like, even though this is happening. And so kind of emphasize, like, this is kind of like a before thought, like, even though, and then you know something's good coming afterwards. But so, even though maybe it's reverent and then raise it, what do you guys think on that one? Yeah, and that's what I was thinking, because the notes, you know, you're going up in the notes. Raises me. So it kind of lends itself very well to going, crescendoing up. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay, great. So, do you think we have this all kind of figured out? Oh yeah, we touched that song. Thank you. Let's see. Maybe just leaning into it a little more, just emphasizing that the power of music is how we can praise our God and how we can come near to God, because I think that is one of the most powerful aspects of music, is that it can help us come closer to our Heavenly Father. Does that sound good to everybody? Okay. So, does everybody have everything marked? You kind of feel like we're on the same page with this? Okay. So, let's stop here.